at the moment. So again, let's put that line track back on, and we'll show you some communities that will be impacted by this storm. We'll have to watch this line closely because it is possible we could see something spin up along it in another location, but where the tightest rotation is right now, these are the communities that will be impacted by this storm. Cuba, 1037, so right about now, you got about a minute or so. Browns Grove, that will move into your area at 1049. Pushing towards Aurora at 1116, and then moving out of the heartland. Aurora is kind of on the very eastern edge of the counties we warned for. So at 1116, this cell will be pushing out of the heartland into Trigg County. So it's a pretty narrow band. Once again, if anyone is close to that track, I would go ahead and let them know because they may not have been alerted by this system. So if once again we check inside this storm, we're still definitely seeing rotation with that. Maybe not quite as tight as what it was earlier, but I'm going to zoom in here closer so we can get a little more roads to pop up. But right here, this is what we're talking about. It's moving right over Elmos Road. This is 385. Sorry, I said 395 earlier. 385. This just moved over now to the north of 385. So again, right over Elmos Road right now. Here is State Route 2422, the strongest rotation just south and east of that, just giving you a few roads here. So if you're familiar with the area, you know what is moving your direction. I'm going to pan up just a little bit more here, and we'll see if we can talk about a couple more roads in the area. And we'll pan north. I know there's more roads showing up here. So here we go. We have Watershed Road. I would go ahead and get in your safe area if you live close to Watershed or along Watershed Road. State Route 303 right now be in your basement. I would be in your basement if you live anywhere in this section of State Route 303 in southern parts of Graves County. As this continues to move north and east, it'll also be moving towards State Route 1. Looks like that's 1390. I want to get close enough so I can say that right numbers here. State Route 1390 in southern parts of Grade County and State Route 303. You should be in your basement, Graham.
Just so you know, they've issued a new warning for this tornado. It does include the northwestern part of Callaway County now. Does not officially include Murray, Kentucky, but it's really, really close. Again, I mentioned that it was going to go between Murray and Hardin. This also is for parts of southwestern Marshall County. You can see that new, let's see if we could pop it up here, and I can kind of get a time. Well, I just went past it too quick. But I'm sure this is extended a little bit farther. The rotation has tightened up pretty significantly on our other source. And like Laura was saying earlier, there's a little bit of a boundary in this area, and this has just been riding on this boundary. And this is not like that quick spin up that we saw just south of Paducah earlier. This one has been rotating for quite some time, and the rotation continues to get stronger at times. And when we look at the different velocities in there, we've got it really, really tight, what we call gate-to-gate shear. And again, this is just north of 385. Looks like Water Valley, State Route 2422 as well. That's where this rotation, yeah, Water Valley, Cuba Road. It's crossing that area right now. I'm not sure what this body of water is here, but there's a body of water. There's going to be a bridge on Water Valley, Cuba Road, and that's going to go up towards State Route 303. That's where this possible tornado is right now. I am not seeing any debris. At times, I have seen a little bit of a lowering with what we call the correlation coefficient. The lower that number, the more likelihood that there's debris. But again, we're still in, the tornado is still in that noise area from some small hail, and it's been in that the whole time. So we may not have a lot of debris. Doesn't mean it's not on the ground. The Weather Service has been noticing this as well, that it is a pretty tight rotation, and our velocity is lagging a little bit behind again there, Laura. So let me get an idea of where. So when I look at the velocity, so the tornado is now right near the intersection of, what's it, Wagner, if I'm saying that wrong, Wagner Bottom Road and State Route 303. This is where the tornado is right now. It is in southern Graves County. Again, this is a long way from Mayfield, and we continue to expect it to stay a long way from Mayfield. But you folks in southeastern Graves County, northwestern Callaway County, and southwestern Marshall County are under the gun for at least another 20 to 30 minutes based on the rotation we're seeing now.
Yeah, and I do have a new track up there as well. Once again, this one gives a little better of an idea of what communities will be impacted as it moves off to the north and east. So Sedalia, we've said your name several times tonight, right on you. You should be in your basement, lowest level of your home in Sedalia. Kirksey, I would be moving to my basement if you have one. If not, just put as many walls as you can between you and the outside. Stay away from windows too, just in case there is debris flying around. At the very least, we also could see damaging winds, even if we aren't necessarily tracking a tornado. We haven't had ground truth at the moment, but man, this has been significant on radar with velocity over the last 30 to 40 minutes. Fair dealing giving you that first alert, 11:14, and then again moving east, so moving out of the heartland. But there you can see Cedar Bluff at about 11:49. So again, we have a new tornado warning. Haven't had any updates on if that alert went out. Let's hope. We've had some reports that maybe that first tornado warning alert did not go out. So that means that people who would normally be sleeping, those alerts didn't go out to wake them up. Or even if they're just watching TV at home, watching Netflix or something, those alerts did not go out. So that's why we're just advising you to go ahead and call your friends and family in this area just to make sure they are aware and to keep all of them safe. Of course, we hope nothing's on the ground. We hope this rotation is off the ground and that we're not seeing a tornado. But the way things look right now, we are treating this as if there is a tornado on the ground because of the significant wind we're seeing inside of it. So this is just south of Sedalia. Again, it's going to be moving off to the north and east, so it will be moving into northwestern parts of, it'll be moving north and east, and then it'll be clipping parts of Marshall County as it continues on in Callaway County as well, northwestern parts of Callaway County. So again, this will stay north of Murray, but you will still see some showers and thunderstorms in Murray as it moves your direction. Let's go ahead and zoom in a little tighter here. I know this may be just a little bit old, this data here, which I know is not
I'm
ideal.
checking. That actually looks that's pretty spot on right now. So at times we're getting caught up. I'll let you know 110 mile per hour gate to gate with this. The National Weather Service is assuming it's on the ground because of how tight it is. They're kind of saying the same thing we've been saying about the debris signature. It's hard because it's a little noisy, like we've been talking about, but they're having a hard time believing this is not on the ground with this type of gate to gate.
Yeah, and this will be crossing right over 97. So if you know anyone that lives southeast of Sedalia along 97, now is the time to tell them to move to their basement, move to the lowest level of their home, or get somewhere safe. There's no time if you live along 97 to run to a friend's house or go somewhere at this point. So you just need to get to your safest place you can in your house, away from those windows, as this will continue to move off to the northeast and cross 97 very, very shortly. Let me go ahead and pan out a little bit if you're just joining us and you're wondering where we are. We are in southern parts of Graves County right now. This is to the south of Mayfield. This is what we're concerned with right here. So here's Mayfield. This is moving north and east. So we want to give you that first alert in Callaway County, especially northwestern parts of Callaway County. If you live southeastern parts of Callaway County, this storm will not impact you, but it will be moving into southwestern parts of Marshall County as well, and it's moving very quickly at about 50 to 55 miles per hour. So we'll put the reflectivity back on here and get a look at that storm, but right here, this is what we're concerned about. I know there are other places that are hearing thunder. It's very windy. There's a lot of rainfall happening, but this is the only storm we are concerned with at this point, Grant.
Yeah, and again, just getting the update from our other source here, trying to figure out to track exactly where this circulation is. Again, this has got the classic, what we call supercell look to it. We've got the main storm is just to the east of Mayfield, but then we have the appendage down here, and that's where we're seeing the rotation going just to the south of Sedalia right now, and it's going to go towards Kirksey and, again, extreme southern parts or southwestern parts of Marshall County. Let me see if our velocity is caught back up over here, because it is, yes, it has. So I can show you exactly where this possible tornado is right now. Again, it's about to cross Highway 97, like Wibbs was just mentioning. It has crossed over State Route 381. Looks like Dr. Melvin Road, State Highway 339, and State Route 339 East. That's where this is headed right now. It's on the southeastern side of Sedalia, and very, very tight circulation. When I check my other source and do the quick math, we're now seeing rotation. It's 101 mile per hour rotation, which means if this was on the ground, we're talking about probably getting up to an EF2 type of tornado. So, I mean, that can do some significant damage, and we've been tracking this rotation for quite some time, as you can see here. This is the new rotation just west of Dukedom. You can see as I put it into motion how it goes off to the north and east. And here we are right now. I'm going to take a look and see if we see any. We do not see any debris, and we've lost that hail signature as well. So hopefully this thing has stayed aloft. And the latest velocity has come down significantly on our other source. And this is updated. Okay, so there is the possible tornado. The rotation is now 75 mile per hour winds rotating just to the east of Sedalia, and it's going to go right into the southern side of Farmington. Again, this is Farmington, Kentucky, not Farmington, Missouri, but that is where we're seeing right now. That is the rotation. The appendage is still there, but things are improving. The rotation has weakened significantly over the past few minutes. And as I look at all the other aspects where we're trying to see if there's a tornado on the ground, we just don't see it right now. So hopefully this did not touch down, because earlier it was much, much stronger. And right now it is weakening, and let's hope that trend continues. I will put an updated track on this. Let's go out. I think I can go out an hour on this. With this. Okay, so here we go. So you can see some of these communities. Kirksey at 10:57, Hardin, we mentioned you about 30 minutes ago, at 11:04, Aurora at 11:13, Black Hawk at 11:33, and Black Hawk is getting pretty close to getting out of our area, as you can see here. It's going to go right between the land, between the lakes there. And so this storm, thankfully, and the latest, Laura, the latest velocity is even weaker. We still have that appendage to the south of the main storm, but the rotation it's almost gone. It's almost gone. So let's hope this trend continues.
Yeah, hopefully got off that little boundary we were talking about earlier. Even just looking at radar, it doesn't look quite as intense either. But we do officially have this tornado warning. It will be until 11:15. You can see the National Weather Service just updated it, and continuing with a tornado warning until 11:15. So just under 30 minutes or so officially. But hey, let's hope that the trend continues and we'll see this expire even earlier. That would be great news. But there have been a couple times where it's weakened a little bit and then it's ramped back up. So with the history of this cell specifically, this is the only cell we've seen quite like that tonight. We're going to continue to watch it, and we're going to want several good scans where it's not showing us any rotation before we send it back to programming and before we give you the all clear. So again, let's take a peek inside this storm. This is what Grant was talking about. Earlier, there was a much tighter sign of rotation. Now, still some strong wind with this, that's for sure. It's now east of Sedalia. You have the all clear now in Sedalia, but much broader. We're not seeing any of the bright blue together with the bright red that indicates some of that stronger rotation. So we were talking about a little boundary possibly here earlier. Let's hope it's lifted off of that and that we don't see any more rotation form along it. If we travel just to the north, let's go ahead and keep that wind on actually and look at some of those, some of the wind as we travel north, and not seeing anything concerning at all with those storms. So that is some great news. Not to say we couldn't still see a spin up, but this is the storm that definitely has our attention at the moment, and we will continue to watch that as the next scan comes through. But right here, it's going to cross over 564. Going to move to the north and east. It'll get very close to Kirksey. It will likely stay north of Kirksey, though, at the current track, but it is close. So if you're in Kirksey, we're not giving you the all clear yet, even though we're saying that rotation is not as tight. We want you to stay in your safe area if you're officially under this tornado warning until we give you the all clear. Like we can give you the all clear now in Sedalia, not north and east of this, and that includes, I know Hardin, you're not officially under this warning, but I would keep a close eye on it as well. This may pass just to your north, but it's awfully close. At its current track, it will likely stay just north, but it is close, so I would keep a close eye on that. Again, in Hardin, you shouldn't have heard a warning. There should have been no alert that came across you yet. You're not officially under that warning. But the good news is the rest of the heartland, at least our western counties, are getting a bit of a break right now. The bad news is there's going to be another round of storms. Those are just getting close to the heartland, moving into our southwestern counties, and this will be round 2. And with some of the wind strength with this and the way the atmosphere is set up, we could see some spin-up tornadoes with this along with damaging winds as this next batch moves into the heartland. And that will be the greatest risk of severe weather with round 2 will be from about now till about 4 o'clock in the morning. So I know a lot of you are saying, I want the all clear, I want to go to bed. And I was giving some communities the all clear in Kentucky, but there will be more storms that move in tonight. So it has me a little more concerned now that we're hearing reports of people not getting their alerts. Grant, that has me concerned. Hopefully they can get that worked out, and hopefully that is not a widespread issue, but just something to think about before you head to bed. Maybe just keep us on here at KFVS, and hopefully our voices will wake you up if we do come under a warning. Again, we have not heard that that's a widespread issue, but unfortunately it looks like there have been some people who did not get the alerts in parts of Kentucky when this tornado warning was issued. Let's go ahead and zoom back into that tornado warning and see if we have a new velocity scan with it. Again, it's moving pretty quickly off to the north and east. You can see it's just getting ready to move into the corner here, the northwest corner of Callaway County, and then it will be pushing into Marshall County very quickly. So I'm going to go ahead and put the scope on here and take a look inside this storm, as it looks like this velocity data has been updating a little better than our other ones. So still fairly broad. There is still some rotation. Right here is
that northern one that you're circling right there. I just want to let you know that is on the boundary. That's the old circulation, and it seems to be strengthening just a bit. So I just wanted to point that out to you, Laura, that it is on the boundary. The southern circulation is not on the boundary. So we'll have to watch that again. It's pretty weak and compared to what we have been seeing.
Yeah, that's good news. We hope it stays weak. But right here, that's where we are watching. That's the strongest rotation right now. It is not nearly as strong as what we saw earlier, what we even saw 6-7 minutes ago. So hopefully, even though it's on that boundary, we won't see it tighten up at all. And we could take a look at our debris. We haven't had any debris show up on our debris detection here through the overnight hours and through the evening hours, but we're going to keep a close eye on that too. We haven't had any reports of damage, but a lot of times that lags behind. So we will continue to watch for that as well as we move overnight. Let's hope that we don't have any damage. Let's hope this was not on the ground. That would be best case scenario, and that would be what we would want to hear too in the KFVS Weather Center. Now, rainfall has been an issue through the first round. We've seen some areas pick up more than 3 inches of rain Flash flooding is going to be much more of a concern as we head through those overnight hours too. So that's something that we'll have to watch for, and especially as you head off to work tomorrow too. There may be some roads underwater as we're already getting those reports too. Lots of lightning. I know some of you are saying you're not talking about my community. It's windy here. We have so much lightning, and you're a little nervous. I get it, but that is our only warning right now. And we are keeping an eye. Grant when he's not on air, and me when you don't see my face on here. We're checking out the other storms too, and right now we're not seeing anything that's screaming severe weather with any of the other storms too, even though there's still some lightning, and even though we are certainly still seeing some heavy rainfall, especially across Kentucky and even into parts of southern Illinois. Not as much thunder and lightning going on in southern Illinois. You've really had just a very good rain, good soaking, which of course this will continue to help our drought conditions across the heartland too. But this is round 2 coming into our south and western counties right now. Nothing severe with those storms, but these have strengthened a little bit. So as those push in to parts of Carter, Ripley County over the next 30 minutes or so, we'll have to keep an eye on those as they are producing a lot of lightning. Not severe at the moment, but that will be kind of the next thing we focus on after we get this warning expired. And hopefully we'll be able to do that here pretty soon. Speaking of that, we are on air because we still do have a tornado warning. This goes until 11:15.
11:15, yes.
Officially. We would love to expire that early and continue to see a weakening trend with this cell. So let's see if we do have a new radar update here. I'm going to put the scope on and we're going to take a look inside the storm so we can see the wind. Doesn't look like our radar has updated much, so.
Well, I can tell you there's a little weak rotation, and I think it looks, that's about as close as, let me see, I'm going to zoom in right here, where we're watching the 2 rotations. This is the southern rotation that was really, really strong. It's about to move out of Graves County. This is the other rotation we're watching right here that is on, basically on the Graves, not Graves, basically it's on the Callaway-Marshall County line. It is riding that boundary, so that's what we got to watch. This is strengthened just a bit. It's still much, much, much weaker than it was. When I look at our other source, and I just got a new update. That the rotation that's on the boundary has really strengthened. Hopefully this is not a new trend. This is what we call range folding. We've got purple here because our radar is having some issues with the velocity. Hopefully that is also, Laura, well, I'm not going to get too technical, but you know we were talking about early with the side lobe. This could definitely be side lobe. So hopefully we're going to stay with this, of course, because it looks like it's strengthening, but I think it could be an anomaly, and the radar is just misleading us right now. We need one more scan to make sure that it's not strengthening like that.
Okay, good. Yeah, and we'll get that scan here in a couple minutes. That's the good news is we're getting these scans pretty quickly, so we'll keep an eye on that. There's the southern end that Grant was talking about. That's, again, that will stay north of the Kirksey area as well, but we haven't tracked this in some time, so I'm going to track that. I'm going to track this entire area right here from the most northern part where we're seeing rotation to the most southern part where we're seeing rotation, because that'll be the easiest way, because honestly we could see a spin up inside that at any point. So we're going to have to put our reflectivity back on here and pan out just a bit again, since this storm is tracking so quickly. So I'm going to pan out. I think I'll have to pan out just a little bit more too to get this tracked at 55 miles per hour. Right now, we are not hearing of any ground truth at the moment, but a lot of times, even when it's daylight out, that will lag behind. So obviously, if it's nighttime and it's still raining, it'll lag even longer to sometimes get some of those reports. Hey, let's hope we don't have any of those reports. That would be the best case scenario if this was actually not on the ground. It was elevated a little bit. So I'm going to track it from that northern end of rotation all the way to the southern end of rotation. Not to say all of these communities will be dealing with that tight rotation over them, but there is still a chance that we could see rotation really anywhere along this line. So Dogtown about 11:06. So you've got about 7 minutes before that rotation and the strongest part of the storm moves into your area. Fair dealing 11:15, and then it will continue to track off to the north and east. Look, it will track over I-24 too. So keep that in mind, that this rotation will be going right over I-24 north of Cadiz in that area. So we'll have to keep a close eye on that. Hopefully the rotation by then will be gone, as we still have some time to watch it. Officially, that warning, this warning, will be over, but not to say it couldn't get extended as it continues through Marshall County.
Real quick, Laura, the new velocity that I've got from our other source, what we were concerned with, it did go away, so that was not the strengthening, a rapid strengthening. That was just an anomaly. The southern end is trying to wrap up again right here to the northwest of Kirksey, and again, this is going to be going right near the Hardin area. I think this is Hardin right here, where 239 comes into 402. It's nowhere near as strong as it was. Matter of fact, it probably is aloft right now, but since this storm has had a history of rapidly tightening up, we'll definitely keep an eye on it. Again, the tornado warning is officially out for another 15 minutes, and well, they just extended it because of this new rotation. So we've got a brand new tornado warning, and it is for this, and it is until 11:30. 11:30. We've got a new tornado warning that has just been issued, and we're getting another signal of that northern rotations trying to get its act together as well. So we still have two rotations. Let me see if I can pinpoint them here for you on radar. The first one, the one that we've been tracking for a while, is very easy to point out. You can see it right there. But here's the second one. Okay, there's Hardin. So Hardin is right here. So this right here is going to go right through the Hardin area. This will stay north of Hardin. This is going to go towards Fair Dealing. So we have a broad rotation on the leading edge of the gust front of the main supercell that's right along, that's riding that boundary, and then the updraft is right here where we have a possible tornado. Again, the rotation is much weaker than it was, so that's definitely great news, and hopefully that trend will continue. But we do have a new tornado warning out for you folks that are watching, and that goes out. That's mainly for Marshall County. It does include a sliver of northern Callaway County, and it's for that southern end is trying to spin up again as this storm again is feeding into a lot of warm, moist air, very favorable for severe weather. That's why we issued that first alert action day for today. And basically, it's just parts of western Kentucky right now that have the best parameters for the severe weather. I know Laura's been showing this activity to the west. You can see this very heavy rainfall back here, lots of thunder and lightning, and there could even be some gusty winds, but it's very noisy. It's not very cellular in nature, so it doesn't look like it would be a tornado threat, but it could be a significant flooding threat overnight tonight. And then we're also watching these storms here. Occasionally, these have been kind of nasty on radar, but so far they are behaving. So our main story, again, is in western Kentucky, where we have that new tornado warning. It goes out until 11:30. We have two circulations we're watching, and I'll do a little drawing here for you so you can kind of see what we're talking about. So we've got a boundary that's kind of right there, and you can see we have this kink that's right on the boundary, and this is the southern velocity. And let's just see if we got a new, it does, yeah, that does line up, so that's a new one. So we have, this circulation is weakening, the southern one. The northern one's that's south of Benton, it's going to go in between Benton and Hardin, right along Highway 641. That is actually getting a little stronger now. So again, it's hard to, we got to watch both of these circulations, but the one that is on a boundary, the boundary will add to the spin in the atmosphere. So with this right here being on that boundary, we're definitely going to have to watch that closely over the next 30 minutes or so. Again, the updraft over, that's something else we can look at. We can look for updrafts, and if there's an updraft over the circulation, those are favorable. So, bright red is an updraft. Yellow is a weak updraft. We've got a very weak updraft over the southern circulation, which tells me that that southern circulation is trying to weaken. We've got a fairly strong updraft over the northern circulation, which tells me we need to watch that northern circulation. It's on a boundary. It's got an updraft, so it means it is a strengthening storm. So we're going to keep our eyes on that closely. And Laura's probably, she's over there at the wall. I think she may be about ready to put a track on it.
Yes, we can track it. I wanted to just kind of talk about a couple more roads too before we zoom out and track it. But here's the two different rotations Grant was just talking about there. That's the southern one, and here's the northern one. So this one will be pushing towards fair dealing. I will track it and give you an estimated time here shortly, but we've been giving you that first alert now for some time in fair dealing. If the southern one were to tighten up a little bit, it's not gone yet. It is still showing signs of rotation. That one will be moving towards Hardin, maybe just staying to the north of it, but it's very, very close. So if you know anyone in fair dealing and Hardin, if you know anyone that lives west of Hardin along 402, again, some alerts haven't gone out, so I would go ahead and call them and let them know if you have any family or friends that live west of Hardin on 402. And also, if I can zoom in a little bit, we might be able to see what this road is, Grant. I don't know if you have it over there too.
Which one?
Let's see if it pops up here. 641. If you know anyone that lives on 641 or 783, here's Covington Road. This is the northern rotation that Grant was just showing you that will likely, showing that updraft, that it could intensify here.
And that shortly. Northern, it is much stronger. It is much stronger.
We just got that new update again, so now we're starting to see stronger signs.
There's a tornado on the ground, I'm sure. I think I have it on correlation coefficient. If you want to come over to me, we can show you right here. This matches up right with the velocity. This is just to the southeast of Benton. I'm thinking that is, everything lines up. We've got reflectivity, winds, and it's close. But based on how fast this is strengthened up with that, yeah, there's that reflectivity ball right there. So this is what I'm talking about right here. We've got the rotation right here. The velocity showing the tornadoes right here. We've got an increase in reflectivity, and the correlation coefficient drops right there where that red ball was. So that makes me think that, now it's not impressive debris, but that doesn't mean it hasn't hit anything. Also, that southern circulation has strengthened up again as well. These keep basically just wrapping up. You can see it right here, that southern circulation crossing, basically it's going to be crossing the intersection of 299 and 402 just to the west of Harding right now. But this is our main circulation we're watching, and it is fairly intense, and they have not put out a confirmed tornado, so I know the Weather Service is probably questioning that drop. It is somewhat questionable. It was a little noisy, but it was fairly close to that rapid spin up. So I want to go ahead and just act like we have a tornado on the ground, and this is to the south and east of Benton. And so I can look over, it looks like Height Lane, I think you just said Dogtown Road, Slaughter Road, all these areas you need to be seeking shelter right now. You need to be in your safe spot. That's in a basement if you have it. Again, if you don't have a basement, you put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. The latest velocity shows the northern circulation is still there, but it's a little broader. So again, these are kind of what we were expecting today with today's kind of setup would be rotations tightening up briefly, becoming broad, tightening up. They're kind of tricky sometimes. Sometimes it's easier. If you have one, you know it's been on the ground for a long time, you just see that rotation. It's easy to point out. This was the one where you really needed four eyes looking at it, where you can kind of look at all these different rotations out there. And Laura, what's the latest? You were looking at some information as well.
Yeah, I was going to go ahead and put a track on kind of these two areas. So I'm zoomed out pretty far, but even at being pretty far zoomed out, you can clearly see the two areas we are concerned with. So let's go ahead and put a cell track and track each of these individually.
All right, yeah, come back to me while we'll fix the batteries in the mic. All right, here we go. So again, we are tracking 2 rotations. She's got a track. Laura's going to change her mic. She'll be right back up, and we'll track that for you. But you can see we still have a pretty good circulation right here to the east of Benton, to the west of Fairdealing. It's about to get ready to go over Kentucky Lake, and then it'll be moving between the land between the lakes, and then go over Lake Barkley. The southern rotation that was strengthening, you can see it's weakened again. So again, these are rapidly wrapping up, and then kind of dissipating, and then wrapping up again. And right now, we have that rotations pretty tight right between Benton and Fairdealing, and we're not seeing any signs of, in my mind, any signs of debris right now, which is great news. Hopefully that was just some noise, but it was a pretty significant little drop there that we saw in the correlation coefficient, which would kind of mean if it kind of coincides with that tight rotation, that's usually what it is. And we've seen it. We do know we saw a funnel cloud with this as it was moving through Graves County. No ground truth to whether it touched down, but there are reports that people were tracking a funnel in southern Graves County as this moved through as well.
Yeah, and obviously only seeing that funnel when we're getting some lightning too, so that makes it even harder to track that. But I have a new battery here, we're good to go, and I was showing you how easy, even as we were panned out, it was to see those 2 different rotations. Right now, not as easy, so that's really good news in just a short amount of time. You can clearly still see that northern end, but much harder to make out the most southern part of the storm that shows that rotation. So I am going to track right on that northern end as continues to move off to the north and east. Let's try that again. I'm going to do a line track actually. I'm not going to do a cell track. That gives us, kind of pinpoints it a little better as we move off to the north and east at about 50 to 55 miles per hour. So that means, and I was tracking it just moving a little bit more of a northerly direction here over the last 10 minutes or so. So Fairdealing, I know your name's popped up a lot. You are not in the all clear yet. 11:15 is when the strongest rotation will be moving into your area. So that's in a few minutes. You still need to be in your safe area. If you have a basement, that's where you need to be. If you don't have a basement, find the most inner part of your home, which means count your walls. How many walls can you put between you and the outside? Is it 1, 2, 3? Get to that spot and stay there until we do give you the all clear. Again, we are still, I'm checking my watch here because the National Weather Service, again, still going with that tornado warning until 11:30, then moving further out of the heartland as we move towards midnight or so. So again, let's go ahead and put on our reflectivity, see what we're seeing here with this storm. Here's our warning. This one now the storm has moved out. They will expire that. It's still showing up. But this is the warning we're concerned about, and it's this storm that we are most concerned about. So let's go ahead and zoom in and get some more roads to pop up here too around the Fairdealing area. So this storm just moving into the west side of Fairdealing. If you live along 408, I hope you're already in your basement or your safe area. Too late to go anywhere now at this point. It's right over you. And this is lifting north and east. So if we put on our wind, we can see just north of Fairdealing, there's where our tightest rotation is right now. Let me pan just a little bit further to the south. So now with this new velocity scan, it's well past 408. It's even already crossed Highway 68 as it continues to move north and east. We'll see if we can get any more roads. We're not seeing a ton of roads pop up here in this area. Might be more of a rural area. I'm not even seeing any roads as I move well to the north and east. But as we continue to track this, more roads will pop up and we'll continue to watch that. But right now, there is still quite a bit of lightning with these storms as well.
This, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
Big Bear Highway. There's a couple of marinas that are on Kentucky Lake. Hallbrook Lane, Stewart Drive. This is where this possible tornado is moving into. Frederica Drive, Taft Road, Dusty Trail Road. That's where this rotation is moving in. Now, the low-level rotation has weakened significantly, but on our other source, I'm looking at it as you go up the storm, there's a very, very tight rotation at about 5,000 feet off the ground. So that is why this storm has been tightening up and then weakening and tightening up and weakening, because it will continue to tighten up as long as we have that strong, what we call mesocyclone in the mid-levels of the storm. We can see that, well, this velocity is, nope, this is new, just to the north of Fairdilling. And as you can see, it's not all that impressive at all. It's very broad. This is probably going to be some very gusty winds that's going to be moving through the area right now. And I'm going to zoom in now that we've got this update, because I know we do have some of those marinas, and this is now showing up, it looks like, just on the other side. Now, still looking at Big Bear Highway. So if you have any of those houses, you know, there's a couple of marinas here near Big Bear Highway, King Creek Road. Right now, it looks like strong gusty winds. The rotation has weakened significantly at the surface. But as I look up the storm, well, I'm looking up the storm, and the rotation has weakened, is weakening all through the column pretty much. It's still there, but that tells us that this storm may finally be weakening. They did just issue a new tornado warning, so let me see what's going on with this. They're continuing this tornado warning based on the rotation, but hopefully this trend will continue, and this one will be able to cancel here shortly. 11:45. That is the new tornado warning that has been issued. The tornado is about, or the possible tornado is about to cross Kentucky Lake right now. And let me see, again, on our end, it looks very, very weak now, but some gusty winds are likely. So that is old. I'm not sure the bend that this is coming in, but again, there's Dusty Trail and big, okay, so here's Taft Road. Here's Big Bear Highway. We mentioned that. I'm not sure what this inlet is right here. There are certain inlets along Kentucky Lake, but Eleanor Drive, Taft Road, Kenwood Trail, Big Bear Highway, Hallbrook Lane, Stewart Drive, that's where the possible tornado is going right now. But again, when I look at it from our velocity, it's just mainly looking like strong gusty winds at the current time. Doesn't mean we don't have anything forming. Doesn't mean it can't wrap up again, because this storm has been doing that. But when I look at the velocities now at the surface and up through the storm, the mesocyclone, Laura, is weakening just a bit. Well, actually, the mid-level mesocyclone has weakened a lot over the past 10 minutes. So that could be a sign that this storm is finally beginning to weaken. But we're going to continue to monitor it closely because of what it's done in the past.
Yeah, now that warning extends into Lyon County until 11:45. So Catawba, you're not officially under that tornado warning, but it is close. So I would definitely keep watching this storm as it's now moving over the northern end of the Land Between the Lakes area. And we hope that we continue to see signs of just broad rotation. That still means gusty winds. That could still take down some tree branches. It could even bring a tree branch through a window. So even if we still see that broad circulation, that doesn't mean we still couldn't have those stronger winds too. So I would still stay away from the windows and just to be on the safe side, even though things are looking much better inside this storm right now, I would still be in the lowest level of your home. And in fact, if we get a little closer here, I know Grant was showing you a lot of those roads. I think we can get closer to as it continues to track off to the north and east where this rotation is. Of course, we're over the lake here, so we're not going to see any roads there. But if we get really close, there we go. We can see Moore Camp Highway. We can see Barge Island Road, Bee Spring Road. I know there are a lot of you that have lake houses, so I just want to give shout out some of these roads so you can kind of talk about the area so you can think about where your house is and if you'll need to go and check on it come the morning. But again, right now, if I just said your roads, the rotation is looking much broader. You can see we don't see any bright greens next to bright reds, so that is some really great news. And with our new scan, let's keep our fingers crossed and hope that that will hold true. It has not held true very much with this storm, as we've seen this before, and then the next scan it tightens up again. So definitely not giving you the all clear, just telling you right now that is looking much, much better as it pushes into Lyon County. Let me go ahead and pan out just a little bit more here, and we'll put the reflectivity back on, and we will put another track on this cell as well. If you're just joining us, maybe you live in Lyon County and you just got that alert, you are officially under that tornado warning now. A new tornado warning issued until 11:45, and that extends kind of through the middle section of Lyon County. So we'll go ahead and put that track on, moving at about 50 miles per hour now, this cell, and I'm going to go ahead and line track it. Kind of gives you a more of a pinpoint area right in here. So that's going to move off to the north and east. It'll be moving out of the heartland officially, say in about, I would say 30 to 40 minutes, but at its current speed, we're going to have to go past our area where we warn for warnings. Catawba, 11:29, Black Hawk at about 11:39, Princeton giving you that first alert, 11:47, and then moving to our very far eastern edge at 12:02 in Dawson Springs at its current track. Again, hopefully we continue to see that the winds die down inside of it and not tighten up, but there is still the possibility that we could see some tightening with this as it moves through Lyon County.
It is tightened up. Our velocity is old, but the velocity I'm looking at, the updated one, ours is going to update here probably about 2 minutes, but the rotation has strengthened a little bit, and it is now off of Kentucky Lake. It is just east of Kentucky Lake. At the land between the lakes is going to be headed towards Lake Barkley.
That image behind you, Grant, looks like that southern end is gearing back up a little bit too. I don't know if you're seeing that on your...
Yeah, I think that is noise because on the latest, it's gone on the latest scan.
Okay, good.
So it's gone on the latest scan. So this one is just a tad old. So this is showing the rotation right over the lake. It's right here now. So it is just off to the east of the lake. And let me see if I can get some roads to pop up to where this is headed right now. The Trace Road, Pisgah Point, this area is where it is. Looks like there's some lake houses on this point. These roads are not popping up, but if you are near the Trace Road area and you're on the eastern side of Kentucky Lake, that is where the possible tornado is right now. And it continues to spin up. Yeah, okay, so now we've got it updated on our site as well. So there is the possible tornado. The low-level rotation is a little stronger. It's a little stronger in the mid-levels as well. Again, it's interacting with that little rain-cooled boundary from earlier today. To give you an idea of what the winds are, the rotational component of it right now is 81-mile-per-hour winds. So that could still cause some issues if this is on the ground, but it's not the 110 we saw earlier, so that's still some good news. But it continues to strengthen up. And you can kind of see that boundary. I'll kind of point it out right here. So here's the rain-cooled boundary right here, and it does this right here. So you can kind of see that. And so what these storms do is they hook onto those boundaries, and right ahead of the boundary, the winds are out of the east, and behind it, they turn to the north. And so it ingests all that spin, and we still got a tight circulation. It just updated here as well, so we'll zoom on in. You can see that tornado, that possible tornado that we've been tracking for quite some time, is now right over, if I can zoom in to see that name of that road. It's Pisgah Point. It's going right near the intersection of Pisgah Point and Trace Road and Old Ferry Road West. Probably going to stay just to the northwest of that. Of course, I don't know how far north that road goes. We have Lake Barkley in this area right here. This is the eastern edge of Kentucky Lake. And so, we've got Hillman Ferry Road. So that road is popping up now. The possible tornado is in that subdivision right now between Pisgah Point and Hillman Ferry Road. And that is on the eastern side of Kentucky Lake as we pan on out. Now, what's going on elsewhere? That's, of course, this has been the only storm of substance over the past hour or so. As we look back to the west, we're seeing a lot of activity. I can put the lightning display on. Yeah, we've got a lot of lightning with this activity moving into the Doniphan area. But this is not looking severe at all, and hopefully that will continue to be the case with this activity. We go farther west, and this is what I was kind of concerned with later tonight, what's out near Springfield. But it's going to struggle because it's going to have to move over this area, and this is taking all the energy out of the atmosphere. So I'm thinking once we get through, yeah, there could be some storms out there, but once we get through this tornado warning and get the leading edge out of the heartland, that things will begin to improve. There will be thunder and lightning, there will be gusty winds, but the tornado threat should diminish here shortly as we head throughout the next few hours. And the velocity has not updated here, Laura, but it has updated on our other source, and it's just a little farther east and a little weaker. So the next time you get the scan on the velocity, this is not going to be as impressive, and hopefully that will continue.
Yeah, we like that as it moves through, again, Lyon County. Here's Grand Rivers. We are south and east of Grand Rivers. This is moving north and east through Lyon County right now, moving at about 50 miles per hour or so. Again, Grant was saying this is a little bit of an old scan, so we're probably tracking the cell right about here now, and that's going to officially continue until 11:45 is when this warning goes until. If we still see rotation after that, we could be tracking this into Caldwell County as well as we continue over the next little hour. It looks like this is not in play mode, so let me back out. There's that new rotation scan, though, Grant was talking about, and did you see that? Did you see how some of the bright green, we lost some of that bright green? That's what Grant's talking about, so that is a much better scan. Let me put this into motion, and it may take us back to a full picture, but that's okay, as we're still seeing quite a bit of rainfall across much of the heartland. There have been some places that have received more than 3 inches of rainfall, and then here is our next round. These are not severe at the moment. They are producing lightning, and they are producing some heavy rain. So that is not going to be great news to areas that have already seen some flooding. Let's go ahead and check out what radar is estimating as far as rainfall totals. You can see that big swath of heavy rain that extends from eastern parts of Kentucky back into the Boot Heel into southern Butler County. And where you see the bright blues, that's about 2 to 2.5 inches of rain. Where you see the purple, that's indicating 3 or more inches of rain. Still raining in some of those areas, and we're still going to see more activity move in tonight. So wouldn't be surprised if rainfall totals end up being 4 to 5 inches in some places by the time you wake up tomorrow morning. So that will certainly cause some flash flooding and just some plain old flooding as well, with not only roads going underwater, but there could be places where you'll have to turn around and go a different route tomorrow morning. So keep that in mind. Add a little more time into your commute. Not great news, I know, because you'll be up overnight, some possibly too, with some thunder and some rain happening. Hopefully we won't have any more severe weather to talk about tonight, but the way things look right now, we cannot give you the complete all clear, as we'll still have to watch those storms as they move in. The threat is lower than what it looked like even 4, 5, 6 hours ago, so hopefully that trend will continue, and we'll get just some good old thunderstorms in here and not any of the severe weather with it.
Yeah, our dew points out there, Laura, have dropped into the upper 50s.
Oh,
now,
nice.
Where that rain is. So what that means is the dew points, when they're in the mid-60s, that's when we really get concerned for severe weather. And they're in the mid to upper 60s across parts of Tennessee and Kentucky. When they drop into the upper 50s, that really starts to put a lid on that severe weather threat.
Yeah, well, let's hope that those dew points continue to drop all across the heartland, including where we have our warnings right now. This is not where we are tracking those 50s currently, but hopefully that's the type of air mass that will move into this area. So again, still officially that tornado warning going until 11:45 now for Lyon County. And if we take a look inside the storm, inside the wind, and it is looking even less impressive now on the latest wind scan. So really good news. This is the least impressed I've been with this storm for over an hour and a half now. So hopefully that's what we continue to see as it moves into Caldwell County eventually, right now into Lyon County. But this is not real concerning compared to what we had seen earlier with that cell. So good news there. Let's hope that holds true, and we will continue to check in on it, but I'm loving seeing that at the moment. Let's pan out a little bit and talk about some storms to the north of here. We're going to keep a close eye on that tornado warning, but again, I know it's raining and thundering and lightning in other places too, but we are not concerned with these at the moment. In fact, if we check out wind inside of those storms, it is windy, but nothing of interest and nothing saying that there is rotation with that lightning and that wind north of here towards Marion, Kentucky into Salem. Just plain old rain and thunderstorms. Elizabethtown, Cave and Rock, same story. Nothing severe in your area right now. Just some heavy rainfall continuing to push through that area. And I'm going to put a lightning tracker on here. We might be a little close to pick up on some of that lightning, but we'll pan out. And most of it now really confined to our south and eastern counties. So not even seeing any lightning currently in
Hey, Laura,
Illinois.
I got some more good news.
Yes, we want to hear it. Bring it on.
Okay, so I've drawn this dashed line right here on the radar. That is the rain-cooled boundary that this storm was riding along. The circulation has moved north of that, and I think that's why we're seeing the demise of this storm pretty rapidly, because the dew points behind this are in the upper 50s. So the dew points in the northern part of western Kentucky are running 59 to 58 degrees. And when I look at this storm, not only at the surface, but all the way up through the column, there is no rotation on it anymore. That rotation was riding this boundary right here, and it has since moved north of the boundary. And so I think we're going to see a rapid decline in this storm, and hopefully that trend will continue. And the warning goes out until 11:45, is that correct?
Yes,
I think?
yep.
So about another 14 minutes. We'll probably, if this trend continues, we're going to stay with it at least 2 more velocity scans before we throw it back to regular programming. But this storm is the worst part is now moving towards Eddyville, and again, that is well north of that boundary. And you may be asking yourself, let's see, I may be able to be able to show you this. You may be asking yourself, how do we know where that boundary is? Well, you could kind of, well, you can't see my cursor, so I'll just do it right here with my finger. This is the rain-cooled boundary right here. And that storm is up north of the rain-cooled boundary now, near Grand Rivers. This is where that rotation was. And things are really, really looking much, much better because it moved off the boundary. This storm was very prolific and continuing to keep those tight rotations. And you can see it as we put it into motion. We can kind of follow this. You can see how tight. It's easy to see. You can see behind me. You see that bright green and red next to each other, how it just kept coming and going. And you see now it's
They
gone.
just expired it.
They just expired. So you see that? We'll just watch it move off the boundary right here, and it dissipated. So with that said, we no longer have a tornado warning. They just canceled it.
Yes.
You may still see the red box there in the bug for just a minute while everything goes through the systems. Again, like Laura was saying, some of the warnings did not go out. They're having a communication problem, and it is kind of a nationwide thing that they're seeing with getting those warnings out. So no tornado warnings, no severe weather in the heartland right now. We're going to keep our eyes on the radar, but for now, we're going to throw things back to your regular program.